Cody Gakpo, the talented Dutch forward who took on the number 11 shirt after Luis Diaz's departure towards new horizons, has opened his heart and shared with the world who his true companions are, both on and off the pitch. And surprise, they're not the Dutchman, although the bond with compatriots such as Jordan Tazy, now at Monaco, and Denzel Dumfries at Inter Milan remains strong, but rather two familiar faces from the current Red squad, Curtis Jones and Ibrahima Konate. This confession, made in a light-hearted chat with Versus' TikTok channel, reveals far more than casual friendships. It shows the human fabric that keeps a constantly evolving squad united, one that, despite changes, preserves a cohesive soul, forged in the dressing room, in the intense training sessions under Arne Slot, and in the quiet nights following tough defeats or thrilling victories. Since stepping foot in Anfield, Gakpo has carried the weight of great expectations. After all, replacing a player of Luis Diaz's caliber, explosive, tireless, adored by the fans, would never be an easy task. And although he began the season with hesitant steps, oscillating between flashes of brilliance and periods of invisibility, the Dutchman has slowly been finding his place, his rhythm, his voice, within Slot's ever more refined tactical system. But what many fail to notice is that even in the darkest moments of his adaptation, Gakpo was never alone. Far from it. By his side have always been Curtis Jones, the homegrown lad, symbol of the new generation from Kirkby's academy, and Ibou Konate, the French giant whose imposing presence in defense contrasts with the lightness of his heart and the loyalty he shows to his teammates. These bonds did not appear by chance. They were cultivated in post-training chats, in shared laughter during endless flights, in quiet companionship before matches. These are bonds that transcend football and touch the essence of what it means to belong to a club like Liverpool: loyalty, mutual respect, and a profound sense of community. And speaking of community, it's impossible to ignore the broader backdrop against which this story unfolds. The summer of 2025 was a busy one at Anfield. While some clubs crumbled financially or descended into internal crises, Liverpool, under the strategic vision of Arne Slot and the board, opted for a balanced path, strengthening intelligently without dismantling the core that had been so carefully built in previous years. Thus arrived names such as Alexander Isak, a bold gamble but with a proven eye for goal, and Hugo Ekitike, the young French talent who promises freshness and verticality in attack. Yet what really drew attention was the decision to keep the backbone of the team intact: Alisson, Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold, Mac Allister, Szoboszlai, and of course the already mentioned Jones and Konate. This stability, often underestimated in a world where the new always seems shinier, is what allows players like Gakpo to feel safe enough to stumble, to learn, and eventually to shine. After all, football is not just about goals and assists, it is about trust, about knowing that even when you fall, there are arms ready to lift you up. But not everything is rosy in Anfield's garden. Despite leading the Premier League, yes, you read that right, Liverpool sit top of the table in October 2025, recent matches have left a bitter taste in the mouths of the most demanding fans. Against Crystal Palace at home, the Reds looked disjointed, sluggish, almost drowsy, allowing the Eagles to create dangerous chances and escape with a draw that for many felt like a moral defeat. Just days later in the Champions League against Galatasaray, the scenario repeated itself: lack of intensity, poorly managed transitions, and a defense which, for the first time in ages, showed signs of vulnerability. These stumbles, though isolated, have lit a warning sign, because in a league as competitive as the Premier League, where every point may prove decisive in the title race, there is no room for complacency. And here comes the pressure, not only on Gakpo, but on the entire squad, to recapture their usual sparkle, the one that makes rivals tremble the moment they hear the Reds' anthem echo around the stands.
The next challenge? None other than Enzo Maresca's Chelsea, a rejuvenated side,
tactically disciplined, and eager to prove they're back at the summit of English football. Saturday's clash at Stamford Bridge will be a true litmus test of Liverpool's tactical and mental health under Arne Slot's leadership. Will the Reds be able to impose their game, recover their trademark intensity, and show the world that recent stumbles were merely temporary lapses? Or are these flaws symptoms of a deeper issue, perhaps linked to the adaptation of new players or the overload on certain regulars? The answers will come on the pitch, but one thing is certain: the world's eyes will be on this duel, and any result below expectations will place Slot under even greater scrutiny, especially given the hefty investment made in the summer market. After all, big spending brings with it the obligation to deliver results, and the patience of the fans, however legendary, has its limits. And it's precisely within this context of pressure, expectation and transformation that the friendship between Gakpo, Jones and Konate gains even deeper meaning. Because amidst the chaos of tactical analyses, press criticism and social media boiling with conflicting opinions, these three players have found a refuge in one another. Curtis, with his contagious energy and unwavering love for the club, Ibu with his serene calm and sharp sense of humour, and Cody with his quiet determination and desire to prove he belongs. Together, they represent something rare in modern football: authenticity. They are not just colleagues, they are true friends, people who care about each other's well-being beyond the four white lines. And in a sport where loyalty is so often traded for million-pound contracts, that is pure gold. It is also worth highlighting Arne Slot's crucial role in this human equation. Since taking charge at Liverpool, the Dutch manager has not only brought a new tactical identity, more possession, more off-ball movement, more higher pressing, but also invested heavily in building a healthy environment behind the scenes. One-to-one meetings, group dynamics, open feedback sessions, all of this is part of daily life at Kirkby under his leadership. Slot understands that to get the best out of each player, you must know him as a person, not just as an athlete. And that's why stories like Gakpo's, who, despite a turbulent start, has found genuine support within the squad, are so important. They show that even at a billion-pound club, with millions of eyes on every move, there is still room for humanity, for true connection, for collective growth. But let us return to the pitch, because at the end of the day, that is where everything is decided. And Liverpool urgently need to rediscover their best football, not only for pride, but out of necessity. The Premier League is relentless, and sides like Manchester City, Arsenal, and even Chelsea will not give up an inch. Every mistake is punished, every slip exploited. That is why the pressure on Gakpo is real, but also fair. He accepted the challenge of wearing the number 11 shirt, of owning the left flank with the same intensity and creativity that Diaz once displayed. And although he has not yet reached that level consistently, there are signs he is on the right track. His movements are sharper, his link-ups with Alexander-Arnold more fluid, and his confidence, little by little, is returning. All this, of course, with the unwavering support of his friends, Curtis and Ibu, who never stop believing in him, even in the darkest moments. Meanwhile, Liverpool fans continue to hope, anxious, passionate, loyal as ever. They know the road to the title is never straightforward. There are highs and lows, glorious wins and painful defeats. But what unites them, what makes them sing "You'll Never Walk Alone" with tears in their eyes, is the belief that in the end, the Reds' heart will always prevail. And within that heart beat stories like Gakpo's, a player in search of his place, surrounded by true friends, fighting to write his own chapter in Anfield's legendary history. The season is still young, the title race wide open, and Liverpool, despite all challenges, remain one of the main contenders for the trophy. The question is whether Gakpo, with the support of his teammates and the guidance of Arne Slot, can turn his hesitant first steps into a run towards glory. One thing is certain: the world will be watching, hearts in hands, eager to see what comes next.